All right. Hello, everyone. So we did our left side with our relaxer retouch, and then we did our virgin relaxer in the back left corner. So now we're going to go ahead and do the right side. So our first step, we want to make sure we are protecting the skin. So we always want to use a petroleum-like base jelly. So this is all I have at the moment. It's actually a skin protectant. So this is going to work perfect. Typically, a lot of them do come in tubes to where they have the nozzle. You can just go right through and apply that to the scalp. So I definitely want to make sure we outline Cameron's hairline with the petroleum jelly just to make sure we do not get any on his skin and protect his skin from the relaxer. And then we're going to do this all the way around the hairline and on the ear. And this is going to be step one, making sure we are protecting that skin. And then we do want to make sure we want to try not to get it on the hair where we're going to be applying the relaxer, okay? So we're just going to go through and apply that on the scalp. So once we do have an applicator bottle, it's a lot easier to really get that onto the scalp. And then depending on the density of the hair, we want to make sure it is medium to thin subsections when we are applying our base to the scalp. Cameron does have very thick hair. He has a lot of hair, so I'm just gonna try to get it in here as much as possible. So I'm going to be using the Mizani Butter Blend Sensitive Scalp Relaxer on the regrowth only, and we're not going to be pulling that through the ends. But he has already been a little bit detangled, so it's real easy for me to kind of get through his hair. Apply all this. So I do a couple of relaxers in the salon as of right now. I have about maybe 3 or 4 clients that get relaxers done, and they all use Mizani, of course, and they all love it. Never had an issue with it. One of my favorite relaxers systems. All right, his hairline go all the way down here, so make sure I get it all the way through. Now, since we are doing a relaxer retouch, we do not want to pull that relaxer all the way through the ends. So what we're going to do is take our Mizani 25 Miracle Milk. You can either use the cream or the spray. I'm actually going to use the 25 Miracle Cream because it is a little bit of a thicker consistency, and Cameron's hair is, he has a higher texture type. So this is great for higher texture types, okay? So we want to apply this to the hair just to make sure we are protecting the hair and making sure we're not getting any relaxer on where it does not need to be. So this is going to make sure we protect our ends, our mid shaft to our ends. To me, it's very, very similar. So let's say like we're doing a bleach retouch. We do not want to get that bleach on where it has already been bleached or processed. Literally same thing with the relaxer retouch. Where we already have that relaxer at, we want to make sure that we don't want to overlap and or potentially over process. So we use our 25 Miracle Milk to protect the hair. So I do the same thing with color too, except I use a spray depending on the texture type. I do like to spray that in the hair if I am doing a bleach retouch, just to kind of protect those ends. All right. So the next step, we would section the hair into 4. Cameron is already sectioned out, so we do not have to worry about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So our tools we're going to need is our brush, our brush. I really do like to use these. a lot. We're gonna need our relaxer, of course. The Mizani Butter Blend Relaxer has an activator. We pour it right into here, and it comes with a little stick, and you can mix that up really, really good. You kind of see the consistency a little bit. I do like to have a wide tooth comb as well if I do want to use that to smooth out. All right. So typically we will start in the back of the head because that's usually where the most resistant part is. For filming purposes, we're going to start in the front. That way you all can see my application. So we want to definitely take paper thin partings. You see what time is it? I got 10 minutes. All right, so we want to make sure we can see through those partings. So you can see that sign behind me. You can see right through the hair. Okay, so we're gonna pretend like Cameron has a good amount of regrowth. I'm gonna dip my brush into my relaxer, and then we're going to be applying at a 45-degree angle. So it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to manage and have a lot better control, opposed to like we're doing a color and we're just slapping that color right on, because we do not want to get it onto that scalp, okay? So it's close to the scalp, but not touching the scalp. And then you see I have a good amount of product on my brush. So we're gonna do tap, tap, tap. And you can see it is not on the scalp, okay? And then we're gonna flip that hair over. And then we're going to do the same thing on our underneath spot. Tap, tap, tap. So I'm gonna turn the brush over because I have more product on that side. Okay, perfect. And then now we can see we have a line of demarcation of where we need to stop. Paper thin sectioning. So now since we have that guide, we can literally use that as our guide for our next sections, okay? So we're gonna go tap, tap, tap. Make sure we're applying a good amount of product. Flip that over, do our underneath side. Tap, tap, tap. Trying to do this so you guys can see at a good angle. And that's okay since we got that there because it's still in our line of where we need to apply the relaxer. So I do like to hold it with one hand, and I'm using my brush to apply with the other one, keeping this hair in my hand. Tap, tap, tap. Still making sure that relaxer is not touching the scalp. Okay. And then we're going to flip that hair right back over. Do the same thing underneath. So it's like when you're doing a bleach retouch too. You do want to make sure it's very saturated because where that relaxer is not at, it's not going to take. So we do want to make sure we have a good amount on there. All right, so I'm going to keep going and finishing this section. Tap, 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 making sure we're not on the roots. Flip that hair back. Same thing on the other underneath side. Paper thin partings. Flip, flip, flip that hair. Same thing on that side. And I do always like to keep an extra towel on hand just in case I get some on my hands and I can just wipe it off really quick. Let me go back and do this. There we go. Tap, tap, tap. That here. So then once we go through and get all this applied, we're actually going to go back through and start smoothing out. So this part I am going to smooth with my brush. And then once we go through the Virgin Relaxer, I'm going to smooth with my fingers. Make sure our sections are still paper thin, see-through. Tap, 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 flip that hair up, tap, tap, tap. And turn a little bit, that way you can see a little bit better. There we go. And his hairline is getting thinner, so I don't have to take, the sections are getting smaller. We're still making sure that is not on the scalp. And a little bit right there. You can see we do not have any of that relaxer on Cameron's ends. I feel like Cameron was the perfect candidate to get the relaxer because he has such high texture type. He has a curl pattern, but he doesn't. So his texture type, I believe, is like around a texture type 7. That's what I think it is, according to the texture key. And then we do still always want to make sure we get this applied on as fast as possible. All right, almost there. I probably could have took that as one, but better to be safe and then just split it into 2 though. We can make sure it's fully saturated. Okay, last part. All right, so we got his retouch all applied. There we go. All right, now we're gonna go back in smooth. Smooth it out. So I'm literally just gonna take the same sections that I went through and did first. Then I'm just smoothing with my brush. And I'm using tension, but not too much. And you can see how it expanded and it's close to his scalp, but still not directly on it. And I am smoothing away from the hairline. Still, my brush is at a 45-degree angle. Moving that hair out, and you can see it's already getting nice and smooth. That's his roots. We always want to do the top and then underneath when we're smoothing also. All right, last little piece down here. Smooth that up. All right. So I'm just going to clean up his hairline really quick. If I see any residue or anything around there, looks pretty good. All right, so that was the relaxer retouch using the Mizani Butter Blend Sensitive Scalp Relaxer. So I'm going to use the same one for his virgin application on the back right side. That way I'm not wasting product. All right. I just want to make sure he's detangled a little bit. Actually, no, he should be detangled. I had this set up for like a week. I just haven't had time to do it. He is definitely in need of a relaxer. All right, so we want to make sure we are always detangling. All right, his hair is detangled. All right, so for the virgin application, same thing. I do not want to apply it onto the roots. So there is no line of demarcation because this is going to be his first time getting a relaxer. So we're going to be applying from the mid shaft all the way down to maybe like an inch, quarter of an inch off the ends. Now, it is an option. You can pull it all the way through if you feel like they need it. With Cameron, I actually am going to pull his very close to his ends because I did that on his left side, okay? Let me get this turned around. Perfect. All right, so we're still going to be using a 45-degree angle. We're going to be applying to his mid shaft. To a little bit off of his ends, okay? So we do the top and then we do the underneath. One, tap, tap, tap. Lift that up. And you can see, you feel like you can still see the hair, you always want to apply more. Make that section a little bit smaller. Okay. I'm sure you all can see. Tap, tap, tap through the mid shaft. You're gonna lift that hair up. Do the same thing underneath. Tap, tap. And get a good angle. That way you all can see there. All right. Saturate it really good. We're going to lift that up. Empty underneath. Hopefully I don't run out because he does have a lot of hair. A little bit on my thumbs. Wipe that off real quick. I definitely find it easier to apply with this brush opposed to a brush with the little bristles. But sometimes I feel like those bristles be going all over the place and flinging product everywhere. So with this brush, I feel like it makes it a lot easier to apply. And then like I was saying before, this section, I am going to be using my fingers to smooth Cameron's hair out. I'm still making sure our sections are see-through. Reapplying to the top and then still to the underneath part. And then when you're parting the hair, you want to do about a quarter of an inch partings to half an inch partings in your subsections. Almost there, almost there. You got a long hairline. Make it a mess. All right, still got a little bit to go. much more we got here? Turn it a little bit this way. All right, there we go. We're still making sure we're not getting that directly on the scalp. All right, almost to the bottom now. A little bit more. Put that up and do the underneath side. And we're still keeping our brush at a 45-degree angle. Applying to the mid shaft. Not pulling it all the way through the ends just yet. All right, so now we're gonna go back through and smooth using our fingers, okay? Do our peace sign, okay? And then we're gonna smooth. And if I have too much, I literally just wipe it back on that top part. So I'm gonna smooth Cameron's hair all the way through the ends. So it's already sectioned from when we were going through and applying our initial application. And we're really literally going through and smoothing that hair out, okay? And like I said, I am gonna pull it through his ends because I did that on my left side, okay? Smoothing the hair out. And then our process time is going to depend on how much curl they want to keep or not have, okay? So if they want to still have like a looser curl, depending on the density of the hair, like a minimal is gonna be 3 to 5 minutes, moderate 8 to 12, and maximum 12 to 18 minutes, okay? Still going through it and smoothing that hair down. finger. All right, so after I smooth this last section, I'm going to let this process get Cameron washed out. So what that process looks like, I'm going to be using the Mizani Perfecting Cream, which is actually a conditioner. And we're going to rinse the hair really, really, really good first. Rinse, rinse, rinse until we see no more or feel any more of the relaxer in the hair. So we're going to rinse that out really, really good first. We're going to use our Perfecting conditioner, let that sit on there for 10 minutes. And then once we rinse that out, we're going to use our Mizani Neutralizing Shampoo. So one thing about the shampoo, if you did not know, before it did turn pink, that way it kind of shows like if all the relaxer is out or not, that no longer is a thing. Okay, so you do want to make sure you rinse the hair really, really good and definitely shampoo 2 to 3 times with the neutralizer. You know, that's one thing I loved, especially when training like my associates on how to do relaxers, is when it, turned pink, like there's still relaxer in there. So it just made it a lot more easier to be able to see what's in there. But at least with this, you're making sure it's thorough because you have to rinse, rinse, rinse because it's not going to change that color. All right. So we're going to let this sit for about 10 to 20 minutes because Cameron does have that higher texture type. And then I do want to make sure it smooths out very nicely, just like this back section. Oh man, those gloves had color in them, did not know. All right, so I will be back with the finished results. All right, so we are back. So I went ahead and rinsed Cameron out. And I just want to show you all what it looks like now. So you can see his regrowth is nice and smooth. And then we did not touch the bottom part. So he still has his curls on his ends on this side. So you all can see that. So now it is even on both ends. He got his regrowth done. All right. And then let's take a look at the back. We pulled that relaxer all the way through those ends on a virgin relaxer. And this is how it looks. Nice and straight. Definitely took out a lot of his curls. He still has like a little wave in there, but compared to this, it took very, very well. And that was with the sensitive scalp relaxer. So typically we would not do a virgin relaxer using the sensitive scalp. We want to just use our classic relaxer or our butter relaxer, either for fine to color treated or medium to normal. Okay, and if their hair is really coarse, we want to leave that relaxer on there a little bit longer than we would because there is no longer a relaxer for coarse hair. So we still want to use that medium to normal relaxer and just leave it on a little bit longer. So yeah, these are left side done, right side done, and then left and right. Our relaxer retouch. All right, thank you all for watching. Bye.